Hey there, I'm Michelle Cannan. I'm the transformational activist, and this is my beautiful home. Well, I had the great good fortune of stepping on this property about 8 years ago, and when I did, I actually came home. This was my mother's property, and she passed away. She had a heart attack in a spa bath, and I found her. And it was that day that I knew all of my life experiences had led me to this point. And here I am today to share what those life experiences were to this point, to be here sharing my life story with you. Yeah, look, for me, it's been a powerful journey. The first half of my life had many reoccurring life cycles. As I always say, so much so that I had to believe I was hexed or there was a master plan at play, right? So it was, for me, it was these reoccurring cycles of, life and death. I had a lot of death in my life, both my brothers passing. I found my partner hanging from a ceiling. I found my best girlfriend's baby passed from cot death. Yeah, and numerous friends. The list goes on. And there's just this procession in my life of deep loss, of people that I deeply loved. And, you know, a cascading of many events that led me to deep bedridden depressions, full-blown post-traumatic stress that would have me housebound for 3 months at a time. Yeah, and in the depths of those places, I I um, I was seeking. Um, I knew there had to be more. I knew there had to be more. There was a time where I was told I was going to be on antidepressants and antipsychotics for the rest of my life, um, and that wasn't an option for me, you know. So I started to really seek a lot of answers, and that journey took me on a global trot, right the way around this planet, all the way around this planet, and looking for the answers in many different places. The last words my mother said to me the week before she passed was, after a really heavy week, I came over for a cup of tea and I was like, Mama, what do you got to do to cut a break on this planet? And she just turned around with her curlers in her hair and yeah, her pink dressing gown on, and she looked at me and she's like, Shelley, there's always an answer. And those words stuck with me. And I'd already been on my global trot, and I knew I had all the pieces of the puzzle, but I hadn't given myself the full permission to integrate all of them, right? I'd go to these different philosophies, these different therapies, modalities, to seek the answers, and I'd find a piece in each one that would give me space from my pain, my confusion, my frustration, but I never got the full transformation. And I'd find that these reoccurring defaults, these life cycles, were showing up again. So I was listening to a discourse from the Dalai Lama, and in his wisdom-soaked beauty, his words were, and don't take my word for it, try it on for yourself. And it was in that moment, I don't know, the light bulb came on. I realized that I had all the pieces of this puzzle. I just had to put them all together to create an entire whole experience. And that's what I do now. That's how I hand back through all my life experiences, and being an acupuncturist for 25 years and studying everything from A to Z, from neural medicine to science. I put all the pieces of the puzzle together to create a process, a 5-phase transformational process that helps people translate these recurring life cycles, these default patterns, to fly free. That's what I do. I was just working in restaurants, living with the guys that own the nightclub, and I was just done. I was done doing that part of my life that way, and it was integral in the transformation of really coming out of a lot of the recurring life cycles, because who I was being shifted. And I made a fundamental decision. I was on the beach, and I just woke up one morning. I was like, I'm just done with doing life this way. And I was talking to one of my friends, And he's like, well, what do you want to do, Mish? And I'm like, I don't know, natural therapies. He's like, well, do it. So I did. I rang Mum the next morning and I said, Mum, I want to move back home. I moved out of home first time when I was 14 years old. At this stage I was 26 and I want to go back to school. Mum's like, sure, okay. And that was one of the toughest years of my life, really, out of everything I'd been through up to that point, because I hadn't had any belief in my intelligence. I actually thought I was actually really stupid. I knew I was a people person. I left school really early. I was a square peg in a round hole. I always saw things differently. I always did things differently. I always felt like the black sheep, even though I had a really gregarious personality. I never felt like, I fitted. I didn't fit into this world, right? So, yeah, I was sort of on my journeys, and so I sort of rang Mum, said I'm coming home, and she's like, sure. I started school, and that first year, going back and visiting everything that I had avoided in my life around studying and learning and really connecting in to that part of myself. And I turn up at exams in cold sweats and, just literally just petrified. And, I had this beautiful sphere of new people coming in around my life that were really supporting me and teaching me how to study. But what I unpacked and discovered that year was that I was dyslexic. And it was such a huge epiphany and awakening for me. And once I understood that, and I learned how to work with the dyslexia, do you think I had a paradigm shift in who I was being? Absolutely. It just opened me up to this whole new world. And I was able to actually started passing exams with really good marks. And even my lecturers used to say to me, how do you know that? It's like, I don't know, I just do. And I found my home. I found my calling. I found who I truly was. It really, this body of knowledge, which was TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, it made sense to me. It was the first time something made sense to me, and it became the foundation of my self-discovery path. It was where all the pieces of the puzzle started to come together. But there was still that aspect of my personal life that was giving me the opportunity in these reoccurring life cycles to show up one more time as that rescuer, as that overcompensating caretaker. And I was with a gentleman that had a very big heart, but was in a lot of mental pain. And he was the one I found hanging from the ceiling. And it was that moment after finding him, and they came and took us away, the ambulance, and they insisted that they went in to the hospital with them, and they wanted to keep me in. I was like, I'm fine, but to let me out of the room, they had to assign me to this beautiful lady, older lady who was a counsellor, and she wrapped me up in a blanket. It was a winter's day and took me out to the car park, and I still remember this. And we were laying standing up in the car park, and I remember looking to the sky, just asking the question, to whoever would listen, and it was her, and whoever else is out there. Why do some people make it and others don't? And she just comes back to me and she says, darling, that's the $1 million question. And I wanted the answer to that question. It became my mission. It became my mission to really unpack the answer to that question. Yeah, why? What is it? Why do some of us breeze through these things and others don't? Why do some get stuck in these reoccurring life cycles? What is it that this cycle is gifting us to transform and grow through? And that's really been my life work. That was one of the fundamental times of my life. Yeah, and there's been these reoccurring cycles that have brought me back to this questioning, to this deep desire, calling, to be able to know how to translate, transition, and transform through these pathways, the human experience. Right? We're not here to suffer. We're not here to be entrapped. We're not here to be stuck. We are here to have heaven on earth. and thrive. Yeah. I did have an intention. I did have a desire to want to really create a process so people could understand what pain truly is, yeah? And I've always said pain is a wise sage master that's wanting to lead us to the gateways of freedom. And this is the process that I've been unpacking, the emotionality of the power of emotions, which is why I've started the emotional revolution, global change through personal empowerment, because it's in that place of understanding the powerhouse that we are through our own personal empowerment. But if so many people are entrapped, and the power of emotion and the vibration that we're emitting has this ripple effect across the globe. And so when we know what to do with these unconscious spaces to consciously respond to our unconscious reactions, that is the life mastery. And knowing how to really empower that in all areas of our life, because the personal always reflects the professional, always. There was no sequential order to the unpacking of this. It was just allowing the pieces to drop in, like putting a puzzle together, right? You've got all the pieces, and sometimes you don't. You still got to sort and sift, and then that one locks in. That becomes a piece of that puzzle. But it's through each life experience, sharing a journey, observing, seeing things that a lot of other people couldn't, to really sit into that, to tap into my own wisdom, really to trust in that inner guidance, because unless we're living it, we don't know it. So I could have all this intellectual knowledge and understanding, but it was through really the experiential aspect and the feeling, really allowing myself to feel every shade of that emotion, but there is when I really got that there was no wrong experience, that everything for me was a whole experience, yeah. And that was one of the fundamental principles of the Tao, the yin and the yang, the two sides of the whole coin, yeah. We've been so conditioned to right and wrong, good and bad, that we polarize our lives in seeking one and avoiding the other, that we're missing the now. We miss being with what is, yeah. And without giving that any more meaning, but making it a meaningful experience. And when I got that for myself, I could then hand that back to other people, to be okay with whatever you are experiencing, yeah. I am so grateful for every single one of my life experiences, because it has brought me right out to where I am here today, and that's living the most incredible life. I'm so blessed in every way. I'm now married to the most beautiful man. We have an incredible relationship where we grow and we evolve together, and through the work that I have done and the process that I've created, I have now helped countless people, and that fills my heart. It fills my heart to know that I am able to now to really hand back through my journey, that every single one of those soul assignments that led me through my soul's apprenticeship to my soul mastery, to show up and really be of service on this planet, it's been worth it. It is my worth, it is my value. And to come from that place of feeling so invaluable for so long, that it just every single part of that journey was in divine right order. And that's where I'm at these days. I just love life. I'm human. I still go through experiences, but I put myself through the pathway as much as I put anybody else. I show everybody else that pathway, and I'm so grateful. Yeah, I'm so grateful. It's really important to know that you're not alone in this process, yeah? And there is always a way out, and there is always an answer. There's always an answer, yeah. Keep shining, keep trusting, keep believing, keep loving, yeah. Oh.